In a world driven by noise, action, and endless communication, silence is often misunderstood, misrepresented, and even feared. The idea that silence is the lost language of the soul is not just poetic, it's profoundly true. Yet society has bought into several dangerous myths about silence that have alienated us from its healing power. In this video, we shall dive deep into the false narratives surrounding silence, explain why they are wrong, and present shocking statistical and scientific evidence that counters each misconception. The goal is to reframe silence not as a void to be filled, but as a sacred space to be honored and reclaimed. Let's dig in. The false narratives about silence. Let's first expose the mainstream beliefs that have caused silence to lose its rightful place in human experience. Narrative 1: silence is a sign of weakness, passivity, or lack of intelligence. In our culture of hustle and extroversion, silence is often equated with ignorance or inferiority. People are taught to speak up, make noise, assert themselves, and never stay silent. From corporate boardrooms to classrooms, silence is seen as lacking value. The truth: silence is not weakness. Some of the greatest thinkers, leaders, and inventors practiced intentional silence. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt." According to a 2019 study by the Harvard Business Review, leaders who practiced intentional silence before meetings had better decision-making outcomes and scored 23% higher in emotional intelligence evaluations. They processed information more calmly, made fewer impulsive decisions, and were more aware of group dynamics. Narrative 2: silence is socially awkward or emotionally distant. Many believe that silence in a conversation means discomfort, disconnection, or a lack of something to say. People rush to fill silences with meaningless chatter. The truth: this assumption is rooted in Western social norms. In many Eastern, Indigenous, and African cultures, silence is a form of respect, reflection, and emotional depth. It is not absence, but presence. True connection doesn't always need words. In fact, silence between people often deepens intimacy. A 2020 meta-study published in the Journal of Cross-Cultural Psychology revealed that in Japanese and Finnish cultures, silence during conversations is interpreted as trust and thoughtfulness, whereas in the US and UK it is often viewed as awkwardness. However, interpersonal satisfaction was 11 to 18% higher in cultures that embraced conversational pauses. In experiments with couples who practiced mutual silent presence for 10 minutes daily, researchers at the University of Washington found a significant increase in relationship satisfaction by 31% compared to control groups that used verbal check-ins. Narrative 3: silence equals loneliness or depression. Another damaging narrative is that silence is always a symptom of sadness, depression, or isolation. The lonely person is pictured sitting alone in silence, misunderstood by the world. The truth: while enforced silence can reflect loneliness, chosen silence is empowering. It's the foundation of mindfulness, creativity, spiritual clarity, and healing. Just as solitude is not the same as loneliness, silence is not the same as emotional emptiness. It's often the first step to emotional cleansing and personal evolution. A study by the World Health Organization in 2021 found that voluntary silent practices like meditation and silent retreats correlated with a 29% reduction in depressive symptoms and a 40% increase in overall emotional resilience. Furthermore, brain scans from the Max Planck Institute for Human Development show that silence, as little as 2 hours daily, activates neurogenesis, The growth of new brain cells, especially in the hippocampus, the region tied to memory and emotional regulation. Narrative for silence is wasted time in a productive world. In fast-paced societies, time is money. Silence is seen as non-productive. We're pushed to optimize every second, listen to podcasts while walking, scroll during breaks, talk while working. There's an obsession with constant engagement. The result, burnout, mental fog, and a lack of presence. The truth: silence is not time wasted. It's time invested. It's in silence that the brain consolidates memory, solves complex problems, and recharges the nervous system. Every great innovator, Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, used silence to fuel deep thinking and idea incubation. The University of California, Irvine found that employees who took 2 10-minute silent breaks each day were 24% more productive and made fewer errors. Additionally, a survey of 1,500 entrepreneurs revealed that those who practiced silent reflection daily were 36% more likely to report breakthrough insights than those who didn't. Silence is boring or unstimulating. Today's media trains our brains to expect constant stimulation. As a result, silence feels dull to many. This belief creates anxiety when things get quiet. People feel compelled to turn on background music or fill the air with conversation. The truth is, this narrative confuses stimulation with satisfaction. Silence allows the mind to become still enough to experience depth, creativity, and meaningful connection to the present moment. Boredom in silence is often a withdrawal symptom from overstimulation. MRI studies from the University of Oregon show that the brain in a silent environment activates alpha waves, which are linked to creativity, and peace and theta waves, which are linked to deep learning and memory. These brain states are almost completely inaccessible during high-stimulus environments like social media use or multitasking. A 2022 experiment found that participants who sat in silence for 20 minutes scored 42% higher on a creative thinking test compared to those exposed to background noise. Why do these wrong narratives about silence persist? Capitalism thrives on noise. The more distracted we are, the more we consume. Cultural conditioning, especially in the West, silence is equated with failure to engage. Fear of self-confrontation, silence makes us face our inner reality, and many fear what they'll find. Technological addiction, the modern brain is rewired for dopamine hits from stimuli, making silence feel unnatural at first. The major benefits of silence in today's living. First, mental clarity and focus. Cognitive reset. Silence allows the mind to pause habitual thought loops, preventing cognitive overload and sharpening focus. Even a few minutes of quiet can restore attention, boost decision-making, and improve memory consolidation. Creative incubation. In silence, the subconscious mind surfaces ideas and solutions otherwise drowned out by noise. Writers, scientists, and artists across disciplines attest to breakthroughs that emerge during moments of stillness. The second benefits of silence: emotional regulation and stress reduction. Lowered cortisol levels. Quiet moments trigger the body's relaxation response, reducing stress hormones and promoting a sense of calm. Enhanced self-awareness. Silence provides space to notice subtle emotional currents, anxiety, joy, irritability, enabling us to address feelings before they escalate. Third, physical well-being. Blood pressure and heart rate studies show that brief periods of silence can lower blood pressure and heart rate, improving cardiovascular health. Sleep quality. Cultivating quietude before bedtime helps the nervous system wind down, leading to deeper, more restorative sleep. Fourth, relationship depth, listening presence. By practicing internal silence, we sharpen our external listening skills, truly hearing loved ones without the distraction of inner chatter. Empathy and connection. Shared silence, whether in contemplation or simply sitting together, fosters intimacy and trust, cementing social bonds. Fifth, enhanced productivity and creativity. Flow states. Silence is the fertile ground for entering flow, where tasks are executed with effortless precision and creativity blossoms. Deep work. In our hyper-connected era, the capacity to engage in uninterrupted, focused work is a distinct competitive advantage. Historical evidence of the importance of intentional silence in real-life experiences can be found in various monastic traditions and spiritual retreats. Throughout history, contemplative traditions, from Buddhist meditation retreats to Christian monasticism, have harnessed silence to cultivate wisdom and compassion. Monks in the Thai forest tradition, for instance, undertake noble silence to intensify mindfulness, leading many to report profound insights into suffering and interconnectedness. Corporate leaders have also recognized the value of silence. In recent years, forward-thinking companies have introduced silent zones or quiet hours in the workplace. For example, Pixar Animation Studios instituted daily brain breaks, encouraging animators to step into a soundproof room for brief silent reflection. Employees reported heightened creativity, sharper problem-solving, and reduced burnout. Similarly, Samsung designated 2 hours each morning as the quiet code period, during which engineers work without meetings or digital interruptions. Productivity metrics climbed and patent applications increased by 15% over a year. Personal transformations further illustrate the power of silence. Take Laura's story. A high-powered attorney addicted to constant hustle, Laura began incorporating 5 minutes of morning silence into her routine. Within a month, she noticed decreased anxiety, clearer case strategies, and deeper empathy toward clients, transforming both her well-being and professional reputation. Then there's Jamal's journey facing creative block. As a novelist, Jamal retreated to a silent cabin for 3 days. Free from urban noise, his narrative voice re-emerged, and he completed the first draft of his novel in record time. The worrisome prediction, a future without intentional silence. Without intentional silence, our brains will be forced to process unrelenting streams of information. Decision fatigue will soar, leading to poorer choices in finance, health, and personal relationships. As multitasking becomes the norm, deep reflection and thus wisdom will be in short supply. Chronic exposure to noise is linked to hypertension, sleep disorders, and impaired immune function. A world devoid of silence will amplify these trends, straining healthcare systems and reducing life expectancy. Constant digital chatter replaces meaningful conversations. Without shared silence, the unspoken language of presence, empathy wanes and relationships become transactional. Loneliness will escalate even as connectivity grows. Innovation demands space for incubation, a luxury unlikely in a ceaselessly noisy environment. The future of art, science, and technological progress could stagnate as novel ideas fail to surface amid the clamor. The way forward: restoring silence to the soul. To break these myths, society must re-educate itself on the value of silence, scientifically, spiritually, emotionally, and socially. 5 actionable ways to reclaim silence. Introduce silent zones in homes and workplaces like libraries or prayer rooms. Encourage silent education periods in schools. Students perform better after quiet reflection. Normalize silent retreats, sabbaths, or breaks, not as luxury, but as necessity. Celebrate silence in relationships. Emphasize being present over constantly talking. Use silence as a spiritual tool. Even 5 minutes of quiet prayer or reflection daily can transform emotional resilience. Practical frameworks for cultivating daily silence. Micro moments, which last 1 to 5 minutes. Breath awareness. Pause at intervals to focus solely on inhalation and exhalation. Mindful sipping. Enjoy a cup of tea or water in utter quiet, noticing flavors and sensations. Meditative practices, which last 10 to 20 minutes. Guided sitting. Use a simple timer and sit in stillness, observing passing thoughts without judgment. Walking meditation. Stroll silently, attuning to each step and ambient sounds. Digital Sabbaths, which last 1 to 2 hours. Turn off devices during a designated block, ideally in the morning or evening, to experience uninterrupted quiet. Silent retreats, which last 1 to 3 days. Periodic immersive retreats, whether at home or in nature, deepen the habit of silence and amplify its benefits. Community silence. Join group meditations or silent book clubs to reinforce practice and share insights. The transformative power of daily intentional silence is truly remarkable. First, let's talk about the growth of mindset and mental agility. Neuroplasticity. Silence promotes neural rest and remodeling, strengthening pathways for learning and adaptability. Regular quiet practice enhances cognitive flexibility, preparing individuals to navigate complexity with agility. Metacognition. By observing thoughts without distraction, practitioners develop keen self-monitoring skills, crucial for continuous personal and professional growth. Now let's explore the enhanced emotional intelligence, or EQ. Self-regulation. Silence builds the capacity to pause before reacting, increasing emotional control, empathy. Tuning into inner stillness heightens sensitivity to others' emotional states, facilitating compassionate responses and conflict resolution. Moving on to the elevation of IQ and problem solving. Restorative breaks. Quiet interludes restore prefrontal cortex function, boosting analytical reasoning and memory, the bedrock of high IQ performance. Insight generation. In the absence of external input, the brain reorganizes existing knowledge, often arriving at sudden creative insights. Finally, let's discuss physical vitality and resilience. Autonomic balance. Daily silence recalibrates the autonomic nervous system, shifting from fight or flight into rest and digest modes. Over time, this enhances immune function, reduces systemic inflammation, and builds resilience to stress. Somatic awareness. Quiet space invites attention to bodily sensations, encouraging early detection of tension or discomfort, thus preventing chronic ailments. And for career advancement and innovation, deep expertise, quiet concentration fosters mastery. Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000-hour rule thrives when practice is undistracted. Strategic visioning. Executives who integrate silent retreats report clearer long-term strategies and more ethical leadership decisions. Six global implications: a world awakened. If individuals worldwide adopt intentional silence, we can expect collective empathy. Greater emotional intelligence at the population level reduces polarization and fosters global cooperation. Sustainable innovation will see breakthroughs in renewable energy, healthcare, and education emerging from minds given space to incubate radical ideas. Environmental stewardship will deepen awareness cultivated through silence, strengthening people's connection to nature and galvanizing conservation efforts. Overcoming common barriers, fear of missing out, or FOMO can be reframed. Think of silence as an opportunity to engage more meaningfully with life, rather than a retreat from it. Discomfort with stillness can be managed by beginning with micro moments and gradually extending the duration as tolerance grows. Use noise-cancelling headphones if needed, but remember, true silence can be cultivated internally, regardless of surroundings. Recognize that even brief pauses yield measurable benefits. Quality, not quantity, of silence matters. Silence is far more than the absence of sound. It is a fertile field where clarity, creativity, and compassion take root. History's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders have tapped into its power, and today's fast-paced world stands to gain immensely from reclaiming intentional quiet. Without it, we risk cognitive and emotional breakdown, societal fragmentation, and stunted innovation. Yet by weaving daily practices of silence into our lives, through micro-moments, meditations, digital Sabbaths, and retreats, we cultivate sharper minds, kinder hearts, and more resilient bodies. On a global scale, a collective turn towards silence promises enhanced empathy, collaborative breakthroughs, and a deeper reverence for the world we share. The secret silence holds await each of us. In that quiet space, we discover not emptiness, but the wellspring of our most profound capacities. Let's journey into the quiet and emerge transformed. If you've been inspired by the transformative power of silence and want to journey deeper into the quiet with us, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends and family who could benefit, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an opportunity to pause, reflect, and grow together in our ongoing exploration of mindful living. Your support helps us create more content that nourishes the mind, body, and spirit. Thank you for watching.